Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Dr. Sharad?
I'm great.
Nice to hear from you.
Are very nice that you are here with us today. And let me tell you all, Suman is a multilingual actress who has won many awards and a very humble human being. And she has written a foreword to my volume one book also. So I'm very much grateful to her. And she is a fitness enthusiast also. She has been into her diet protocols, routine also. So, having said this, I just want to go ahead with Suman. We have few questions, Suman, for you.
Yeah, okay. Before you ask me any questions, Dr. Sharad, I also want to say a few words about you.
Please.
Not only are you a good friend, you're also someone I do admire and very proud of, because at such a young age, you have chosen a profession that can be a bit of a challenge, especially at a time like this where people want quick fixes. And but you have been very diligent and you have been very passionate about it, and you're doing so well. And also I want to thank you for asking me to write the foreword for your book, The Blockbuster Health. That was very sweet of you, and that was a good opportunity I got. So thank you very much.
Thank you again, and pleasure is all mine because you have written that. So moving forward, we are in so-called some kind of crisis. Some people call it as COVID-19. Some people call it as lockdown. So altogether, it's interrelated. So if I have to ask you what this crisis has taught you, so what would be your answer?
Okay. The one thing, the crisis, this what we would call the crisis, or what is going on at the moment, or like you said, the COVID-19, whatever people want to call it, it has, I think, not only for me, I think it has taught the whole world something, because I just feel like this was, this was the most unexpected. Nobody saw something like this coming. And most times when something like this comes, I don't know if anybody ever gets to see it. It just happens. But it's just, 2019 was fantastic. Life was great. Everything was going good. And then you have something like this in the 2020, and it was just a bit of a shock. And I think for a lot of people, something like a setback. So for me, this has taught me, one thing that it's taught me is simplicity is everything. Because I just feel like I come from a time where we did not have mobile phones, and we had like very few things on TV. And the most important thing was to spend time with your friends and your family. I come from a time like that where that was of the utmost importance. And, just playing outdoors with your friends, and, being with your family and going to meet your grandparents. And, that was life for me. So I grew up with that kind of a concept in life. And now I think this lockdown has pretty much done the same to people. It has, it's not a voluntary thing. It's very involuntary. People are forced to stay home, and the children are forced to stay home. They've come back from school and everything. So I think people have gone back to understanding the value of life and time. And so they're all cooking and cleaning and spending time with family and children, and, watching TV, and talking to friends, and being, I think it's brought out so much of a generous side in people. And just, I think it's just changed people's lives and the way they look at it. So for me, it has done the same thing. I kind of, pretty much as a person, I'm an introvert. So I like spending time at home. But this is not something, this is forced. So you do want to go out sometimes and be with your friends and family, and especially my parents and my brother. I just really miss meeting them. So for me, that is very important. And I didn't get a chance to do that. And but I spent a lot of time at home with my husband, and I was cooking a lot. And, I think this has turned me into a very good cook, but it's also taught me a lot of things. And yeah, it has definitely brought out a skill in me also, and it has also changed a lot of things in my life, for sure. And I think this unpredictable feeling, like you don't know when things are going to happen, kind of makes you so careful about life and not take things for granted. I think it tends to give you a chance to lead life, keeping in mind that you don't know what is going to happen. Because even after the lockdown is over, you're going to want to have to step out into a world that again has no surety. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's not like the lockdown is over and you can go out and life is great. It's you have to be careful and everything. So I think, it just teaches you how fragile you are, and not to take things for granted, and to really live life one day at a time. And yeah, just be hopeful.
That's great. So this brings us to our main thing, that is hopelessness to hopefulness, wherein
Yeah.
this was actually very well explained by you, wherein we can always develop some kind of skill, or else spend time with our family members, or do things which were done before the emergence of social media, 4G, high-speed internet, fiber net. So only with a small television with an antenna. Uh, so that's great to hear. And
Yeah.
how would this help us to stay hopeful, wherein things may not look like that? So we are trying that we should be positive, we are to be optimistic, but some of the circumstances are not making us to feel that way. What is your take on that?
Okay, so at a time like this, it's very easy to slip into different kinds of emotions. It's very, very natural. No matter how strong you are, no matter how much you feel you've experienced life and you know pretty much everything and you can handle everything, there is a very good chance that you can slip into a couple of emotions. So I feel like there is something called hope, which is a positive outlook towards life, and all of us experience it at different times. But it's also not a permanent state of mind. It's not like being optimistic. Then you have the realistic hope. Now, realistic hope, I think, is a very, very good ingredient to have a fulfilling life. It's an active process with an intent of, what can and cannot be changed. Then there is also something that's the unrealistic hope. Now, unrealistic hope can be very dangerous because one lives in a fantasy world, and that can lead to a lot of harm and a lot of negative feelings. And it's not the same as being pessimistic. And then we come to what we are talking about, hopelessness. And then there's also the reality. But hopelessness is like a sense of, having the sense of loss, like you have no purpose in life. It's like if one was going through a bad time, like right now, for some people who are completely living in that hopelessness, that feeling of hopelessness, there is a tendency to think that this is never going to change and this is going to be forever and it's never going to go away. There is that feeling, and they have a tendency to live in a very be in a very dark and a low mood, which, then can sort of, affect the way they perceive themselves, others, and even the world. And it just leaves them not feeling inspired and feeling so powerless. And this can lead to very deep depression and also have suicidal, thoughts. So I feel hopelessness is very destructive, very dangerous, and it can block your energy, block your growth, block your happiness, your love, and take a toll on your health, and then eventually your life. So I don't think this is a great place to be. This is something people should try and avoid. So like I said, people have a tendency to slip into any of these emotions, and it can keep coming and going. It can be any of these things. So I just feel one has to be really careful, especially at a time like this. No matter how good you are, how strong you are, how much you travel the world, and however, whatever you've experienced in your life, but there is a tendency to slip into any of these emotions very easily, and one has to be very, very, very careful.
Right. That's absolutely right. And I think you are a certified counselor also. So
Yeah.
definitely the points which you are drafting here is making sense absolutely. Because if
Yeah.
they slip into that maybe depression kind or hopelessness kind, then it's difficult to raise them up. And the people who are associated with them, they also start behaving maybe abruptly because
Yeah. Yeah.
they are not well. Right.
But what do you feel, Dr. Sharad? What do you think? I mean, how have you handled this crisis, and what do you feel about this whole, feeling of hopelessness?
Yes. So
How are you handling it? And
one thing which this crisis has taught us is, I think, nature is great. So how much हम जितना भी हाथ पैर मार ले तो एक गॉड फादर रहता है कोई तो. So this is what
yeah, man proposes and God disposes. It's like what has to take place will take place, and we're nothing. We're just so fragile. We just have to learn to survive.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what
And yeah. Sorry,
uh,
you were saying. And no, the thing is, I was just thinking, like, how does, like, there are a lot of questions about, to feel this way is pretty human and natural. There's nothing wrong in anything that one feels.
yes,
But how do you stop feeling those things? How do you come out of it? And how do you manage it? And how do you sort of maneuver and, on an everyday basis? Because one day you might be strong and the next day not.
correct.
So it's those kind of questions that people like tend to.
All ups and downs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a roller coaster ride.
Roller coaster, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and things which I have learned during this lockdown are like, I think it was a good opportunity, or it is a good opportunity to work on ourselves, and which we wouldn't have done since a long time because of the busy hectic schedules, and life is going like that, especially in the metropolis or metropolitan cities. So the life again just it keeps running day night day night day night day night. So this was a time wherein like you were majboor, you had to sit at home, nothing else you can do. So obviously, again we have two possibilities here. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. But having said that, even that can be utilized in a positive manner, in a good manner. So I think most of them have done it, and most of them have utilized it. I can see lots of hidden talents coming out of many people. Wherein yes, so I would have never seen those if it was a busy schedule. But people who had the artist or a painter inside them, they started painting wonderfully, that too, and it was a highly good quality painting. Those who had maybe singer inside them, they started singing, and those who had lots of qualities inside them, and some of them started writing also, which is a very important quality. I think we had discussed this during my book also, and before that also we had discussed this. So journaling or writing, they have started. Some of them are building lots of contents, and I think they will be author very soon also.
Yes.
So
no, this has brought out the best and also the worst, like anything else. But I think this lockdown has also taught people so many things, and they've all come out with their true talents. They've had the time, and maybe they figured out some things about themselves, and which is a good thing, because I think change is always good change is always welcome. So I feel like so for me, I mean, like I said, for me this was also very good, because like I said, I came out with this. I was always able to cook, but then this time I realized I can cook really well. So that was like, I think, the one thing that I worked on. And like a whole lot of stuff. I was reading a lot. I got a chance to watch a lot of movies, and then there was always calls that I was making to a lot of friends to finding out if they were okay, because I just was, I think a little bit scared for a lot of people and worried. And so there was that. And then, I would bring out my camera and take some photographs around the garden here. So, and then I could hear the birds. They were like so loud. I could hear the birds. And I think the sky has never looked more blue. And there was less pollution, which was fabulous. And yeah, so there were a lot of pluses, and you couldn't hear the cars, and all this was really nice. Yeah, it was really nice, especially with the birds, and it was really wonderful.
That's true.
So all that was nice. Yeah, so I also feel like, I think a chance that what one gets to come out of being, so the topic that we are on is how can one deal with hope, feeling hopeless.
Yes.
To, at some point, how do you feel, how can you come into feeling hopeful? That's the topic you were on. So I think to answer that question, like I said, there are a lot of things that make you feel hopeless, but then there's also a way to come out of it. I think in my experience and what I've understood is that everything is a process. And then, you can have a whole lot of thoughts that come to you on a daily basis. I think to watch your thoughts, to understand what it's telling you, what you're feeling, is one good thing, because then you can start to sort of alter that and stop thinking the things that are going to harm you or come in the way of your everyday life. So I think thoughts is very important to pay attention to. And I think when you have positive thoughts and good thoughts, you automatically speak the right words, that don't hurt or harm you in any way, or hurt anyone. And then I think if you can do that, then you manage to sort of have the right kind of actions. So the right thoughts, the right words, and that leads to the right kind of actions. And that sort of becomes your life and pattern, which is so important. That's something people really, really need to work on. Like I said, everything is a process, not going to happen overnight. But you have to work on it every day, and that can change a lot of things for you. And I think also to surround yourself with very positive people, because that is very contagious.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very positive people, fun people, optimistic people. That can be very contagious. People who come and share good things with you, that is very important. I think to surround yourself with those kind of people is very, very, very important. And I think to be around nature, that's another great thing. Like for me, nature has worked brilliantly. Like I can be around nature anytime. I can be around the birds and mountains and the water and, trees and blue skies. I just love it. I think it just uplifts my spirits, so I feel like being around nature is fantastic. Also, it can make a lot of difference to people. And then I think, to envision a good future, like envision a future for yourself. Like don't give up, be courageous, don't give up on what's happening at the moment, sort of envision a great future and see yourself doing all the good things. And also be compassionate.
Yes.
Being compassionate and doing acts of kindness can also bring out good feelings. These are all things that bring out good feelings in you. So I think these are all some of the ways of how people can sort of come out of feeling hopeless. And then also connecting with your passion, like a lot of people did, like be it painting or writing, and just go out, give it a shot. You don't know what you're capable of and how good you can be, and so just give it a shot. So I think just following your passion, like learn to play an instrument or write or paint or cook or just anything. It's so therapeutic, it's fantastic. And then just have this purpose. These are the things that can sort of pull you out of that dark place. So I think these, and you have to do it on an everyday basis. Here, I think what it is consistency. Consistency is the key. So you have to be consistent. So I think these are the things that work.
Absolutely.
What do you think, doctor? Because you deal with this also, I think, on a pretty much everyday basis. So
the thing which you talked, you spoke about the nature, which we have to learn from the nature. Maybe the humbleness, maybe the abundance and the positivity and contagious. The energy is contagious. Wherein if we are surrounded with positive people, we become positive. If we are surrounded with negative, then it will be negative.
Yeah.
That's why even I thought I'll have a session with you so that I become more positive.
I see. You're a very positive person. Like I said, you are so, I see you work hard, you've written a book, you're so good with what you do. You're going after, you have a passion, you have a vision, and you're heading towards that. You have a goal, and you want to pursue it. It's amazing. And that, like I said, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a process. People have to just be consistent, be it anything. So, and yeah, so
So
I think
moving
that's been,
towards our next question, actually,
yeah.
how have you been able to keep yourself active physically and mentally during this crisis or during this time?
Okay, so the thing is, what I have not changed at all is the fact that I still wake up very early. I'm up at 5 every morning.
Amazing.
That has not changed. Yeah, that has not changed. And it makes a huge difference. I believe that people should wake up at a time that, very early in the morning, that they should fix a time and wake up every day at that time. I think it makes a huge difference. Whether you've got a holiday, whether you have any work, you don't have work, I think you wake up at that time. So that is one thing I did. So I slept early. I used to go to bed very early and then have a very early dinner, of course, go to bed early and then wake up at 5:30 and do my workout and everything if I felt like working out in the morning. Otherwise, I would do my workout in the evening, at about 5:30 in the evening. So the workout never changed. I did my workout every day. In fact, before the lockdown, I used to work out only 6 times or 5 times a week. Now with the lockdown, I worked out like every day because it's just like, I don't know, I just felt good. You do yoga and I mixed it all up. I did like yoga, I did, strength training. Then I did just a little bit of aerobics, like cardio, whatever. So I mixed it all up so you're not bored. There's a tendency to get bored also of it. Yeah, so I did that and I ate my meals on time. My breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner on time, in time. And I did my workout either in the morning or in the evening, but I worked out every day. And I slept early and I got up at 5:30 in the morning. And that was my schedule. That never changed. So you just feel like there is this whole discipline, which is very important.
Very important.
It's very easy to go away from that discipline. You can say, it's okay, today's a holiday or we're in a lockdown, I'm going to eat what I want, when I want. No, that doesn't work. It just never works because it really takes a toll on your mind and your health and everything. And then it just shows. So I think that is important, to stay disciplined.
Absolutely. And then that indiscipline always pulls us.
Yes.
Let's sleep.
Yes. I think one can keep eating and sleeping. It's very nice to keep eating and to keep sleeping, but you have to not do that. You have to tell yourself, no, this is it, and you have to stay very, very strong about it because it's so easy to go there. It's so easy, and like I said, even hopelessness can be, can have something to do with the fact that you have a poor health or a mental and an emotional, setback in your life. So, even the way it can even lead to that. So I'm saying that if you don't eat right on time and if you don't sleep well and sleep enough and get up on time, all these things also lead your mind to become, sort of going to that very dark space. So I feel like these are all connected and it's all interlinked, and it's not to take for granted or just to say it's okay. No, you have to really work at it.
Discipline is absolutely required and it's mandatory actually.
Yeah.
As you told, eating.
What about you, doctor? You also do the same thing. You also wake up in the morning early and work out and.
Yes, that is one thing which I have never stopped. Even if it is Saturday, even if it is Sunday, even if it is a government holiday, even if it is a Deepavali or even if it is some other festival also. I think none of the times I have missed this. So, and that gives a sense of great well-being actually, great sense of well-being. So,
it's all interconnected, yeah.
It's all interconnected. I think we have discussed this earlier also that how this routine has kept us always active. And having said that, I just want to tell one thing that a ship may be safe in the shore, but it is not made to stand there. It is made to go into the water, deep into the sea and face the wind. Same thing with a flight also. An aeroplane would be safe at the airport, very safe actually, but it is not made for that. Similarly, we are not made to just eat, sleep and...
you're supposed to move, your body, you're supposed to move your body. And be active all the time. Yes. And the thing is, I also want to say this, very clearly, because people think that, okay, we're just talking about workout. I also want to say that sometimes, people have certain setbacks with their health and cannot do certain kind of workouts. And I'm just saying that once you know that about yourself and your body, I just feel like do whatever you can.
Correct.
It could be like walking, it could be just climbing stairs really slowly, or it could just be being active, like walking from one room to another. Could be anything, just whatever suits you.
Also.
Yeah, whatever suits you, or just do a lot of breathing exercises. And I swear by yoga, I love it. I think yoga can just change everything for someone. I don't know if everybody feels the same way, but for me, I think yoga is the ultimate. It's fabulous.
The whole world is also feeling now.
Yeah.
Global.
It's good. Yeah. So.
And
yeah.
I mean, it is well known that most of the celebrities are on social media, doing TikToks, being on Instagram. What is your takeaway on social media, or what is the role of social media in your life?
Social media had absolutely no role in my life before. Okay. Absolutely not. Like, I have never been on any social media, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever the hell, everything else that you're all talking about. Absolutely not. I know it's very strange because everybody thinks that once you're in the movies or a sort of modeling or in the movies or a celebrity of some sort, you have a tendency to be on social media because you want to reach out to the world. You want to be able to put yourself out there and the world to see what you're doing, which is fabulous. I think it's fantastic to be on social media. But for me, I don't know, it made absolutely no sense. I just couldn't get myself to doing it. I mean, there were times when I thought about it. I won't say I didn't. And my friends are like, let me do this for you. Come on, it's about time you got on it and everything. But I don't know, I just never felt like getting on any sort of social media. So I just never did. And at the moment, to be honest, I am thinking about it. I'm thinking about getting on social media, but I don't know which one, maybe Instagram or something, but it will be purely for work. It'll be just purely for my work. So that is something I'm contemplating on, with social media. But what it's also taught me at this point in this lockdown is how important it is for a lot of people, because even the children are doing all online classes, and just people are communicating like that. So with the social media, and people are reaching out to each other. So I feel like it's got its own pluses, but I also saw that it affected a lot of people, the social media. It did have not so much of a great effect on some people, because I think they were so carried away by it, and they would sort of look at the other people on social media and envy them or want a life like that, or they would constantly wait for those likes and dislikes and stuff like that. And that became part of their life in such a big way, and they thought everybody on social media were their friends, so they thought they had a whole lot of friends. And so it also had an effect on people that was not so nice. So I just feel, I think it's all great, everything is great if you know how to handle it, and if you know what it is there for. And anything in excess or anything more than what you're meant to have, if anything more than that becomes poisonous and toxic. So I just feel like if you know how to use the social media, and if it's worked for you, fantastic. And it was not something I ever wanted to be part of in the past. But like I said, at the moment, I don't mind maybe being part of Instagram or something that's got to do with my work, completely to do with my work. And and I also feel like, yes, it's been of great help to a lot of people. Yes, it's got its pluses too, definitely.
That's great. So moving forward, like, do you want to give any advice or any request or any command to the viewers post lockdown? That is almost the lockdown is done now. Post lockdown, how can we stay optimistic, and how can we go ahead with the other things? And I also know that you had I mean, you had helped lots of the daily wage people also in between this lockdown, because I think they were suffering without the food. Uh, so you had helped.
Yeah.
So what would be your like advice or request or command to the people or to the viewers who have like who are blind about the upcoming future with respect to this crisis?
Yeah. So what I would like to say is that I think the first and foremost, the most important thing is to look after yourself.
Correct.
I think one needs to look after themselves really, really well. Like sort of build their own immunity and understand what's good for them. So I think look after yourself and really, really look after your family and your friends and support them in every way possible. I think that is a very, very important thing. And then, just to be aware, like when you go out and stuff like that, be aware of what's happening, be aware of your surroundings, because it's always good to be aware. I think awareness is a nice way to be in life, but at this point, you need to be more aware of everything because you can't take anything for granted. So just please be aware where you go, who are the people you're interacting with, what are you doing, what are the precautions you're taking, be it with your masks and be it with your gloves and just keeping things clean, sanitizing your home, your things, and just everything around you, sort of just be aware of all these things. And I think lead like a conscious life, just be conscious about your life, be kind, to people. This is a time to just like, I think being kind is the way of life, but at this time, I think that can work wonders for a lot of people because a lot of people feel alone and just are suffering. So I think be kind and, of course, be grateful, like, just be grateful about everything you have and serve, help, look out for people, look after people, just these things, it's so important. It helps you, it helps people, and it's just the way of being, it's just the way to be. And I also feel like don't give up, don't be afraid. A lot of people live with fear. Please don't be afraid. It's okay to be afraid, it's okay to have fear and everything, but it's just be courageous, be brave, understand that this is something you have to do, this is life, just go out and live it. Like I said, be careful, be cautious, be aware, but don't be afraid. Just accept the reality of life the way it is and everything. And I think more than anything, people should thank the doctors and thank the nurses, the volunteers, and everybody who was part of the sanitization, the wage workers. I mean, just everybody who came out, who helped, who did so much charity, who were out there, who actually put everybody else before them. I think they're the true heroes. So I think people should just be really grateful, thankful to these people, and just be good to yourself and be good to people. It's very, very important, I think.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. Absolutely a right thing also.
Yeah.
We are almost in the end of our discussion now. So thank you very much for participating in this, and you have given lots of insights also to the viewers.
Yeah.
And moving forward, we'll also have such many episodes upcoming with Suman, wherein we'll be discussing each and every aspect, may it be related to this crisis or may it be related to something else also. And then
Yeah.
she'll also be counseling people wherein how to stay more positive in this season or in this crisis. So thank you very much for watching this also, and thank you very much, Suman, for participating in this. It was a great session. I hope you enjoyed it too.
I totally enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharad, and thank you for taking the time off. And it was lovely talking to you. And yes, we will talk more about a lot of things.
Yes.
And yeah, please take care of yourself and your family and be safe. Thank you.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.